Ikumkum. No. Oh, okay. I notice we're being live streamed now, which is very good. So if the live stream just started, then we can just mention that we've given our obeisances to the devotees, had a mini vandanam, a mini introduction, and we are going to humbly ask, because it's our big opportunity and we don't want to miss the opportunity, for Śrīla Ekadiri and for Gangalila Devirasi each, to say something about Srila Prabhupada, because we have their direct association here. So those who have been directly magnetized by the magnet, we pray for some magnetism to brush off and off unto us. So may we start perhaps first with Śrīla. I see her video is on. And Gangalila Didi, if you are available and happy to do so, we'll be happy to hear a few words from you also soon. So Śrīla, please come close to the microphone and be you. And we know who you are. You're a generous user of the mercy of the masters. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, you're the one who's magnetized. Everyone knows this. Well, you know, we were, you know, I can't deny that in those days, in the time of Srila Prabhupada, we were there. And we're still like begging for that mercy to come to us. I mean, it did, but we're always in a needful position. And that will never really end. We want to be in that needful position and always, you know, feeling our defect, because we're trying to approach the supreme pure position in which the holy name of Krishna exists. And we're trying to understand more and more what that means. And to please, and by doing so, we will please our masters. They are our guardians and really are everything. And so when we're trying to make some progress, we're hoping that it will be pleasing to them. And we're saying that that word asha, that asha means hope. And it is our hope to become a Vaishnava, but it is also their hope for us. So that's a very great thing. In fact, that's everything. And all the prayers that we're singing to the spiritual master in the morning, if we can become aware and of the meanings of those prayers, that we are so very dependent upon them. And that's not going to end. Guru is eternal. And he's coming in a myriad of forms, but always there's Guru, forever. We're not trying to approach the Lord directly, and we never will. That will be our imagination. So, Maharaj has asked me to say something about Srila Prabhupada specifically. And he's the one who came with the big net to the Western world to catch any fish that will come in. He didn't throw very many out back into the ocean. Whatever it was, he accepted that. And so, you know, those days were extremely powerful days. And we, you know, we were not very confused about so many different conceptions of Krishna consciousness. It was all very simple. Srila Prabhupada that was it. So we were so fortunate that our introduction to spiritual life was so pure and so unbelievably high, and with such a powerful force of magnanimity to pierce the heart, our hearts. And really, when I look back on those days, I actually can't really believe that I almost can't believe that it ever happened. when I see videos of all these young girls and boys, like young, you know, just like giving up everything and joining Srila Prabhupada, and really whatever he said to do, we just did it. We never even dreamed of thinking what we wouldn't do it. And it's a miracle. Like I'm astounded to see it now. But this is still going on, you know, as Srila Madhusudana Maharaj is always saying, Srila Prabhupada is with, Guru Maharaj is always with us, Srila Gurudev is always with us, these great descending gurus, and the present gurus who are now bringing us to their holy lotus feet by their pure devotion. We are so fortunate. And there's, you know, Prabhupada always, so many of the expressions that he gave us are still the drum that is keeping this parade moving. You know, he always said, like, doesn't matter what you go through. You maybe many things will happen, but you stay in the boat. And these days I'm reading and hearing so many things that are really confirming this idea that we have to stay active in devotional service. There are 9 processes of devotional service, and our whole day should be full of those, one or the other or the other. And, you know, remembrance is one thing, but he, you know, he always said, whatever happens, maybe you will have some times of discouragement. And Guru Maharaj also confirmed this, because means that the environment is now coming to show us something that we were comfortable with before, that it was okay with us. But now it's coming to say, no, this thing now is time to go. And so it causes a little discouragement. Sometimes we feel a little confused. Yesterday I was so enthusiastic. Today I'm not so enthusiastic. What happened? And sometimes that is just that a new challenge has come to us. And I don't want to speak so long, but Srila Prabhupada, you know, he kept us very, very deeply engaged. We almost were in another world. In those days, really, we certainly didn't have smartphones. Most of us didn't have any kind of phone. We didn't watch any television, or we didn't have anything, no radio, no internet. We were newspapers, nothing. We were really in like an oasis. We were so protected in those days, and it was so enlightening, and it was just absorbing us in a higher type of life that was so sweet and so satisfying to us. Really, we were so happy. And when Srila Prabhupada closed his pastimes in this world, he made sure that we would be safe. He made very sure. He had already praised Srila Guru Maharaj so many times, many times. And then he said, now you can find your shelter there. You can find your shelter in Srila Sridhar Maharaj. He's, you know, I consider him my guru, and what to speak of what he can do for you. So those of us who, I don't know why, we're so fortunate. We can't understand why we got to actually be among those who actually took shelter of Guru Maharaj. But those who did found their spiritual life in a speedboat. Not just something that trying to keep on going, but finding some real progress, feeling some movement in our lives, and hearing about Srila Prabhupada from Guru Maharaj. I mean, we thought we knew Guru Prabhupada, but after being with Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, then we understood that we were just children. We didn't really know so much. So anyway, he is our great, great, great savior, the great savior of the world, And as we've heard many times, sacrifice is joy, and love means sacrifice. And Srila Prabhupada's life was sacrifice. What he did to come to the Western world at such an advanced age and in such a difficult mode of travel, and then having nothing, no money, and just depending on Krishna. And such a long time he waited to begin his movement, a whole year, I think, almost, through a winter in New York City with very little, you know, but he's always in a prayerful mood. I've come here, I've tried to understand what my service is, and then boom, everything took off like a like a Brahmastra. And 10 years later, the whole world was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So forever we will be gratefully seated at his holy feet, trying to hold on tight and pray for his mercy, and go on trying to become that very dependent unit of service and love that we are meant to be. So just now, I'll just, what happened? Oh, the battery.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So Jai Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupāda Ki Jai. This is the Adivas Day. So today we're writing out little lists of things to do and things to buy, and preparing for tomorrow's festival, which will be celebrated like in a big way all over the world and all over the universe, actually. That's the caliber of person that we're speaking about. Jai, Jai Maharaj, Jai Gurudev, Jai devotees ki Jai.
Jai Śrīla Devidasi ki Jai. And very beautiful, Didi. May we all be in the land of joy, of surrender, of service. It's like the dynamo, isn't it? The Mahaprabhu's dynamo is Sankirtan. The dynamo of the Sankirtan brings the joy, and the joy brings the Sankirtan. Everything self-perpetuating. So let us be servitors. Very beautiful. And Ganga Leela Didi, are you available?
Dhanavad, Hare Krishna. I'm
Hare Krishna, welcome.
Thank you. And I have no qualifications to speak. So when Prabhupada left his body, I was a school child. I have danced around Krishna consciousness for a long time, and I have something here on my lap. It's really cool. It's probably hard to see, but it's a book. It's a picture book. It's called Acharya, and it's really beautiful. I got it actually exactly a year ago on the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada. A year ago, I got this at the close by temple here, and I'm just reading a devotee. So he says, a Vaishnava is devotees are always merciful, humble, truthful, equal to all, faultless, magnanimous, mild, and clean. They are without material possessions, and they perform welfare work for everyone. They are peaceful, surrendered to Krishna, and desireless. They are indifferent to material acquisitions and are fixed in devotional service. They completely control the 6 bad qualities: lust, anger, greed, and so forth. They eat only as much as required, and they are not inebriated. They are respectful, grave, compassionate, and without false prestige. They are friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. And what can I say? I feel that Prabhupada had, after leaving his body, he had a way of engaging me in conversation, which is still something I haven't quite processed yet, because as we all know, ISKCON temples have the statue. They have the Murti, the big life-size Murti sitting there. And many times that Murti would wink at me, blink at me, kind of move. And I for many years I have a feeling of almost being mocked by Prabhupada about my inability to understand this is a very urgent matter in my life to become Krishna conscious, because like I said, I danced around it, meaning I was not approaching becoming a devotee for a long time. And yeah, I was very stubborn and very like a child, almost like those kind of qualities, like thinking that I can make it on my own. And I'm very happy that at some point it became, Prabhupada has been reflected by devotees to me, and I was able to learn from the love of the devotees to Prabhupada, who've witnessed him in his lifetime, in his body, and that is what what brought me kind of to the feet of Gurudev as well, and who I also missed out basically in this lifetime. I wasn't aware that they exist when they left their bodies, so I have no qualities to speak as I sit here, but I feel that I was actually, as a child, already moved by George Harrison, the Beatles, that the Maha Mantra itself actually pulled something into my awareness, which keeps unfolding. Like I feel that I've had the awareness to know that it is very important for me to pay attention to what's been brought by Prabhupada. And I'm still a student. I'm just an aspiring devotee, and I have no position to speak here like the more exalted senior Vaishnavas. So thank you so much, Hare Krishna. But here's like a picture. I don't know if you can see that, but Prabhupada is sitting. And I'm really inspired by his lifestyle also, actually. I have to say, like how he takes care of himself, how he has like Ayurveda massages, how he eats also by himself, how he writes, how he keeps himself being a good Vaishnava. I'm very inspired by it. I don't know if you can see it. He sits here and has a prasadam by himself. It's probably tiny. But we went to visit in Vrindavan with a parikrama group. We went, and Keshwananda was there, Vishakadidi was there, Chintavani. There were so many from people who come here as well. And we visited places where Prabhupada wrote, like little rooms at the temple next door. And I am very touched by that, being also in the proximity. There were good moments, so that's something else I must say. And they come surprising. They're surprised myself with being moved, for example, by seeing him eating by himself. And yes, he's quite a teacher to me, I must say. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful Gangali Devi. And you know that photo that you showed, that is right at the Radha Damodar temple. That is the kitchen that is there. And it has that low window. And through that window, Srila Prabhupada can see the Samadhi Mandir and the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Rupa Goswami.
Ah.
That picture is exactly where you were describing just now when you were on pilgrimage in Vrindavan.
Yes.
So you've been there and you've seen that location.
Yes, we see this location, and it's just dawning to me that I have not even the capacity to be dialed in such a mood, but I'm very inspired by it. Very inspired, but it is just, the picture is and it's saying also it's poetic, and he's expert, and I love that. It's art. I feel like there is an art weaving together the story of what happened, the movement, the people and all that, but how so much is expressed very artistically, like the way he weaves words, the way the mood, the way he's sincere, the way he is what did they grave, and then there's humor. It just it strikes a string I didn't know this instrument had, so it's vibrating. So that's how I can stay in touch with, that's how I can have a living relationship with somebody who has left the body before I even knew they existed.
Yeah, very, very beautiful. And also just there, beside that room, which was his kitchen and eating room, it is the room where he slept and where he gave darshan to the devotees, visiting devotees, the public who would come to see Srila Prabhupada. And a very humble room, very simple and straightforward. And he, Srila Prabhupada, traveled the world, but considered that to be his home. There's a plaque, maybe Keshavanand was here with us, there's a plaque on the wall saying something similar to that. How he considered his room in the Radha Damodar temple to be his home. So very beautiful. And this is one of the special benefits, of course, doing parikrama, going to the places that we can relate to and which give us inspiration. And by the way, we were just now in such a place, means the Sri Chaitanya Sridhar Govinda Ashram in Bangkok, where Srila Gurudev had so many pastimes, and Keshavanand and myself, we were honored to be staying on the floor in the room just in front of Gurudev. That's where we were staying, in his room, and we were hearing from Krishna Priya Devinasi and from Paramananda Prabhu about Gurudev's pastimes there, and also so sweet and so beautiful and alive, like very alive, hearing of their Leela. And in the ISKCON temple in Vrindavan, then one day, I was actually very fortunate. Today is the disappearance, tomorrow will be the disappearance day. So today is the Adivas day. But I was very fortunate to meet Raja Shekhar Brahmachari, who is quite famous for having made the color guides, what now have become the classic guidebooks for parikrama in Vrindavan and in Govardhan and in Radhakund. And he's put a lot of effort to make those books with as much attention as he can to accuracy, etc., hearing from many different sources, trying to collect what is real, and with pictures. He's made beautiful guides for Vrindavan, for Govardhan and Radhakund. And so I met with him one day at the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. And he just started talking about, we were talking with each other and about Srila Prabhupada and about Srila Prabhupada's relationship with Srila Guru Maharaj and with Srila Gurudev. And he was very, very gentle and very Vaishnav etiquette endowed, we can say, very good behavior with the devotees. And then he was describing about Srila Prabhupada, his relationship with him and some of his life that led up to him staying in Vrindavan. And he told about the day of Srila Prabhupada's disappearance and the days leading up to that. And he took me into Srila Prabhupada's rooms, which are there at the Krishna Balaram temple. And he's sort of a VIP in a way, so he could open the barrier and go inside, which I wouldn't do. But he opened the barrier and went inside to the area where you're meant to be watching and not walking around. And we both sat down, said, come. It's all very quiet. It's a very respectful place, Srila Prabhupada's room, of course. But it's as a museum. But there were very few people. It was a quiet time by the Lord's arrangement. And he and I sat diagonally at the end of Srila Prabhupada's bed. And then he softly spoke to me about the last hours and the last time of Srila Prabhupada. And one thing which he mentioned was the actual disappearance, just as he's about to disappear. That Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to do parikrama of Govardhan Hill. And this he'd expressed different times. And he said that he was there when he'd expressed this, but the senior devotees, they all basically refused to make that arrangement in the sense of caring for Srila Prabhupada, that no, his strength is not good enough. If we take him by bullock cart, which is what he wanted, if we take him by bullock cart on parikrama of Govardhan Hill, he will surely leave his body. He was so frail at that time. So they were naturally protective of Srila Prabhupada, and they basically saying, no, Srila Prabhupada, you stay here, you stay here. And anyhow, he mentioned how the senior group of devotees had gone to that back room, which is just there now as part of the museum. And they were in consultation, saying something about Srila Prabhupada. And at that time, only he was there with Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, for a long time, he'd been very still, just lying on his back and very weak and very still. But he said, when they left from the room, Srila Prabhupada, he got up onto his elbows, and Rajashekar Prabhu said his impression was he was going to get up and go out and go to Govardhan. That was his impression. He was going to go to Govardhan for, like, oh no, now these people who are forbidding me to go, they've gone out to the room. Now I'm going to get up and go out. But he said this came in his mind immediately. But Prabhu said that actually Srila Prabhupada got up on his elbows, and then he looked. He said he looked straight down and looked across at me. And then the other devotees came in and he lay back down again. And then he passed away very soon after that. But Prabhu said that was his impression, that Srila Prabhupada, now he's going to go to Govardhan. So that was something very sweet and very personal for me. Of course, I'd never met Srila Prabhupada, so like hearing from you who have met him, then we get some understanding. And of course, who is the best person to let us all understand about Srila Prabhupada? That's Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, the best people to let us know about Srila Prabhupada. And so many ways we've got to learn about Srila Prabhupada. And from Srila Guru Maharaj, about how Srila Prabhupada, we must consider him as a Shaktivesh avatar. And then when asked, he said Shaktivesh avatar of Nityananda Prabhu. And from Srila Guru Maharaj and from Srila Gurudev, we've heard so much about Srila Prabhupada's intensity to want to reach out to the influential people, including Gandhi, to whom he wrote not one letter, but different letters to him. And this way, Srila Prabhupada had that vision that the world must take advantage, must follow what Srila Prabhupada, what Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada had given, what Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur had envisaged. And so this way, we've been very fortunate to have some beautiful introduction and description of Srila Prabhupada's qualities from those who met him, headed by Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. And we do have, by the way, the Pranam mantra of Srila Prabhupada, written by Srila Gurudev. And this Pranam mantra, we should really take to heart, and those one day within the ISKCON mission, I'm sure that somebody will recognize and understand it. Oh, here we have like the full-fledged Pranam mantra of Srila Prabhupada. And that is that verse, Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Swāmī Śrī Bhaktivedanta Prabhupadaya Te Namaha Gurvagyam Shirassi Dritva Shaktivesha Swarupine Hare Krishneti Mantrena Paschatya Prachyatarine. Vishvachaja Prabharyaya Divya Karunya Muktaye Shri Bhagavata Madhurya Gita Jnana Pradayane Gaura Shri Rupa Siddhanta Saraswati Nishevine Radha Krishna Paramboja Bringaya Gurave Namaha. And I don't know if you can hear in the background, but Keshavananda Prabhu is speaking this as I am speaking it, the Pranam Mantra of Srila Prabhupada. And I am in the car with Keshavananda Prabhu and with Paramananda Prabhu, and an empty passenger seat and empty luggage in the back because our passengers and the luggage have all gone to other countries. And so I'm going to pass the computer over to Paramananda Prabhu. Sorry, to Keshavananda. No, Kumkum is not here today. But then we will hear the translation from Keshavananda Prabhu and some more elaboration. So I'm passing over the computer now. Keshavananda, you have to do a bit of yoga.
Oh, okay. Dandavat, Dandavat, Tuti devotee. So what am I doing, Maharaj? Any question? Something? What am I doing?
Translation.
Where's the translation?
Just can you go to the like just tap this and this once.
Okay.
If you tap
Okay.
it once again, you get back to the screen.
I offer my humble obeisance unto His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupāda, who is Krishna's beloved associate, and who came down to this plane from Goloka. Taking the order of his guru on his head, he is the Shaktivesh, empowered avatar of Nityananda Prabhu personified. He distributed the Hare Krishna mantra all over the Eastern and Western world, delivering and uplifting all the fallen souls. He is the best of millions of Jagat Gurus, because he is the personification of divine mercy. He has distributed the sweet nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam and the transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita all over the world. He is constantly engaged in exclusive devotional service to Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Rupa Goswami, and Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. I offer my humble obeisances unto Srila Prabhupada, who is like a bumblebee, always tasting the nectar of the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha and Govinda. Jai Srila Prabhupada, beautiful mantra by his dearmost son, Srila Govinda Maharaj. This beautiful mantra came out, so it's there in our songbook. You can chant it at any time, not only on these special days of as remembering Srila Prabhupada's Gurudev said, you know, we are always taking his prasadam. You know, still so many years later, we're taking his prasadam. He blew the mountain, blew the tunnel, exploded the tunnel through the ego of the Western world, and came at the perfect time and collected so many fortunate souls. So we're very fortunate to remember these places and of his divine Leela. You know, Śrīla will remember so many places. We're remembering, especially now, we're remembering, as Maharaj was speaking of, the beautiful Krishna Balaram temple. I mean, really, this temple is something extraordinary. And now Vrindavan is very built up, and many things have been added. But when we see the pictures of that temple in the time of Srila Prabhupada, with a beautiful pond in the front, with the temple reflecting in that, and all the devotees around. Srila Prabhupada's house in the back. And we know now when we go to Vrindavan, must be one of the most, I don't know, holy places. We can see, we can feel it there. It's with all his paraphernalia there, his famous, 3-pot cooking pots, and his dictaphone, and his walking cane, and so many things that have become so part and parcel of all the pictures of Srila Prabhupada and the stories of Srila Prabhupada, and of course the place where he lived and then left this world. One of the most wonderful places, actually, this house of Srila Prabhupada. And then, of course, our own next door neighbor. He's also our next door neighbor in Radha Damodar Temple, where he stayed for 6 years. So it's not such a short time, 6 years living in those rooms. And I remember Kanaka Goswami is the head of the family of the servitors of Radha Damodar. I remember him saying that when his father told him that when Srila Prabhupada came there, very quickly his father offered him those rooms. He knew that this was some extraordinary personality, and that he immediately said, yes, you can stay here, have some shelter here, where he stayed and worked on his translations, and in the quiet, peaceful, dusty pilgrimage town of Vrindavan. Not so long ago in years, but a long time ago in the environment of Vrindavan. Krishna Balaram Temple was right out of the town, basically, right out of the town, in the quiet, peaceful, soft sands of Ramanreti. But now we know that Vrindavan is like a city, so a lot of that is because of the success of the preaching of Srila Prabhupada throughout the world, so many times around the world, and in such a short time. And then giving the instruction that I have brought so many kind of rough diamonds. I've collected so many sincere seekers from around the world, and then imploring Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj, please you take care of them, please you polish them, you continue to give shelter to them. So we've always. I remember when I was the first round, although the first devotees I met were disciples of Srila Govinda Maharaj, I didn't know anything and I was moving around. So really my first experience was with ISKCON, as with many devotees. And then I went to Vrindavan, and I was fortunate enough to stay in the Krishna Balaram temple for some time, very happy time. And I'm kind of, I know that I need to find a guru. That's the necessity. So I'm meeting so many people, and some I like, and some I'm not so keen on, kind of thing. All different personalities. But always in the back of my feeling was, yeah, okay, so you may find some guru, but he's not Srila Prabhupada. I'm always going to feel like I was too late, missed the boat, kind of thing. For that, so there was always some kind of feeling, anyway, from my own neophyte ideas, really, that somehow Srila Prabhupada had actually left us. But then when we met Srila Govinda Maharaj, all those thoughts just dissipated completely. Completely. There wasn't even a question anymore. That here is a different personality. Srila Prabhupada would like you know, Srila Govinda Maharaj would like to take Muri in the morning, and Srila Prabhupada would rather have puris and sabji, and telling Govinda Maharaj, oh, this Muri is just cheating the stomach. But, you know, so they were not the same personality at all, but still they are the same. They are carrying the same substance. They are Mahaprabhu's men, and so all my doubts just evaporated, disappeared. And we're also feeling that again now when we think, you know, oh, now Srila Govinda Maharaj has left. What can we do? You know, he's no longer present before our eyes. We're again feeling relief, and those fears are evaporated because we are in the company of Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhusudana Maharaj, and we know is so deeply immersed in the service of Srila Govinda Maharaj that we feel that when we're with him, we are in the company of Srila Govinda Maharaj. So it's very wonderful how this Vaishnav, how it works. We're just reading yesterday, and I can't remember which book I was reading. I've got too many open at the moment. I think it was Divine Aspiration, the small blue book of Guru Maharaj, and he's saying the Vaishnava is all in all. Vaishnava is everything. And while we have that service connection with the Vaishnava and their representatives, then everything is wonderful actually. And the waves may come and go, but we can continue happily. So we're feeling very fortunate to be here. We're feeling very fortunate to see you all there around the world. They were just here a few moments ago, and we'll be all here or together again somewhere in just a few moments also. You know, this heart substance transcends time and space. So we are in that eternal family, have been invited and affectionately pulled by the seeker to come to serve our Guru Varga. So we're praying always for that opportunity and praying for the sincerity and ability to try to render some service to Shri Guru and Vaishnav. And today is a wonderful day. Tomorrow will be a wonderful day as around the world, great festival, really Maha Mahotsav, to glorify the great, the best of the Jagat Gurus, the Srila Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupāda. I'm going to pass you back. Pass you into the back seat. Yeah.
I'd like to point it over to Paramahansa Wood to say a word or two.
Well, just
use the microphone.
A couple of words only, because I do need to focus on the road. We're on a high speed highway. But we're just visiting Srila Govinda Maharaj's house in Bangkok. And while he was there, I placed 2 photographs in front of his bed so that you could always see them. One of them was Srila Guru Maharaj sitting on his veranda in his chair. And another was the photo from the opening of Mayapur Chandradaya Mandir, where Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Govinda Maharaj are visible. And then one day, we're just sitting there, just 2 of us, and he comments, Prabhu, your choice of photographs is very nice. And then he started talking about that day when he was there with Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, for that grand opening, in seeing the grandeur of that project. And suddenly he said, I wasn't expecting to say anything. I thought Prabhupada will talk, Guru Maharaj will talk, maybe Krishna's Babaji Maharaj will talk. I wasn't expecting to say anything. And then suddenly Guru Maharaj asking him to say something. And Prabhupada is also very keen on hearing from him. And at that time, Srila Govinda Maharaj. He said, I taught for a while, but by the grace of Guru Maharaj, some shloka came to my mind. And that shloka was, Kam Pratigataya Tamishesam Pratikava Patitiraya Gopati Tanaya Kunje Gopava Tutivitam Brahma. That's from Raghupati Upadhyaya. When he is saying, who will believe me? Whom can I tell and who will believe me? It's actually a perfect expression. That is a Bhai Babu, with whom I spent so many days, so many months, being trained in Bhagavad Gita, going to distribute back to Godhead, and what Keshavananda Prabhu just mentioned, having breakfast, lunches, dinners together, cheating his stomach and having this all beautiful, sweet, son and father-like interactions. Who will believe that he will be Swāmī Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupāda, the head, the Acharya founder of International Society for Krishna Consciousness on such a grand scale, and that there will be white Vaishnavas. And then Govinda Maharaj said, they were like white elephants standing around Prabhupada, sitting around Prabhupada. I felt, and that was my impression, he said, they were just like grand white elephants to me. So that speech was perfect, and the verse was perfect. And we heard that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said, Hare Krishna, confirming that, yes, cannot be more perfect than that verse.
Right.
So that was expressed by Srila Govinda Maharaj. So we heard so many stories how the preaching happened, and so many challenges Srila Govinda Maharaj as a young brahmachari, Gaurendra brahmachari, was facing, preaching to the worshippers of Kali. And it's a Kali Kata. It's the town of Ma. So they were challenging him. He had very little authority in their eyes. He was too young. So he would come back to Prabhupada and complain what happened. But then Srila Prabhupada would coach him on what to say to them. We heard those humorous stories. We're not going to go there now. And just for myself, I can say that when I joined Krishna Consciousness movement, it was 11 years after Prabhupada disappeared. But somehow we always thought, even though we had the gurus, initiating gurus, and at that time I have to give some credit to them, they were initiating on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. So he was always in the highest, the most esteemed position in the society. So for us, we felt we're his children. And we drew all our inspiration, our seva, and our preaching from him, from his words, from his songs, from his books. That was all in all for us. I remember waking up and hearing in our ashram, they would turn on at 2:30 a.m. in the morning. They will turn on Sad Goswami Ashtakam by Prabhupada. So everybody could hear, they'll wake up and get ready for Mangalarati. And then for the evening, before we all go to sleep, we would listen to Brahma Samhita chanting of Srila Prabhupada. And throughout the day, this constant singing of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Mahamamritam Bhajan. He was always present in our life. And when we faced difficulties is in our preaching, we would always pray directly to him. Please give us some inspiration. Please give us some strength to go on, to move on. And one of our favorite expressions that Prabhupada used was, impossible is from the Fool's Dictionary. And really, what happened then under that kind of guidance, under that kind of shelter of Srila Swāmī Maharaj, even though he was not directly present there, but we felt his presence very much. We actually did something miraculous. Like I was telling another day, stories that now seems to be like a fairy tale, like it was another life for me, but really it was all by his grace. There's no doubt about it. Jai Shri Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Maharaj, Jai Jai, Jai Shri Prabhupāda, Jai Jai, Mahamahotsav, Adivāda, Jai,
Prabhu ki jai.
Jai Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. All right, now I wonder what's on Śrīla's list of what they're going to buy for tomorrow. She said they're preparing a list. Kishoris are a must, says Paramananda Prabhu. So always we know with our, and for breakfast, and we can also think of having puri and sabji, luchi for breakfast. Ruchi, chini, rasa, puri. They're going to start singing the Yoga Aarti song soon. Anyhow, devotee, we'll be there by the Lord's grace. We'll be there in Chiang Mai, so we'll be meeting with some of you for tomorrow. And Nadia Sundari and Bhakti Lalita and Bhakti Lalita's mum and Bhakti Lalita's sister, they're also coming. And so, Bhakti Lalita's brother, excuse me, also coming. So we'll be meeting them and we'll be remembering Srila Prabhupada and all our great masters. And by the way, I see, Chintami left the Zoom already, but she wrote in the chat that she was at Chiang Mai Airport on her way to USA with a brief visit to West London Temple. So presumably she's probably in the sky somewhere above us now as we drive on the road from Bangkok to Chiang Mai. She's probably going to come in the opposite direction, directly above us, but in the sky. And there's a clip also from Praneshwari, or a note in the chat from Praneshwari, with a subtitle or title, "No need for a Rolls Royce, we can walk." Mini clip by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupāda. So I look forward to seeing that with such a title. Then it sounds like my kind of a clip. Keshavananda was saying that right now.
And Maharaj on Facebook, Priya Bhakta is saying, Chileka Didi Ki Jai.
Jai. And Seva Rupadiri, she's put in the chat box the Pranam Mantra Srila Prabhupada and the translation, as you heard a little earlier in our broadcast today. And that is also in the latest edition of the songbook, which is also on the web on csmap.com. The latest edition is there. Okay, so a corner coming up. So dear devotees, please continue happily, and we'll also meet more of you on the Zooms later on in the day. And where are we going to today? Oh, Ukraine. Yeah, we'll be going to Ukraine later in the day, also on Zoom. And tomorrow, Srila Prabhupada's Disappearance Day. Let us all take the opportunity of more and more etching Srila Prabhupada into the DNA of our heart. Because Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, they are our absolute shelter, and we are absolutely indebted to all three of them for having this opportunity of service and to understand in a sober way what is Krishna consciousness as best we can. So Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupāda ki Jai. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Rock Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Gurudev Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. And Jai to you all who are with us here on Facebook, on Zoom, and who are watching the recorded version as well, who have watched all the way through to here. Our appreciation to all of you, and may we all chant the glories of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and make our lives successful.
Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhusudana Maharaj ki Jai.
Pancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Okay, just 30 seconds more. That is, yesterday we were reading from a special book, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, about the servitors in Vaikuntha. They have 4 arms, remember. And when the servitors were being praised, with 2 hands they're covering their ears so they don't hear the praise. And with the other hands they're silencing, telling them to be silent like this. And there were some other descriptions there too, but that's what I know. Bhaktivedanta wants to say some of the other descriptions. That's for another day, because my 30 seconds extra is up. Dandavat, dear devotees. Jai, Jai, Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari, Hari.
Hari, Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Too much welcome. As Gurudev would say, too much welcome. Jai.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Jai Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Madhusūdana Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai. Jai. So very nice. So very special. Beautiful. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams.